I'm going to talk about a story, and it's about the integration of the smartphone, not to the full extent, but it adds values to the services of the community in disseminating flood warning and disaster warning messages. So, Bangladesh is a disaster-prone country, and because they have got a lot of mighty rivers, even 10-12 kilometers wide, and they got rain in the basin as well as water comes from the upstream. So this add other dimension to the disasters like flood. So it's very important to put the right message regarding the flood in right time. So earlier times, people make the messages like they have got the gauge readers in different places. They see the water level and then convey the message to the particular department which is responsible for generating and disseminating flood warning. Like one organization is in the government of Bangladesh. It's called Flood Forecasting and Warning Center, and they process the data, and then after generating the warning message, they get it back to the community. But during this procedure, usually what happens, people as a gauge reader see the water level by their bare eyes or making some measurements, and then over the telephone they convey the readings or the numeric values to the office. But during this procedure, say for example, he's talking about 8.2, but it might be in disturbance of the network, maybe due to the volumes of the mobile phone or some other technical reasons. The message can be wrongly placed to the processing center. So it can cause the disasters, or I think the wrong message can be generated, and thus the wrong message, if goes to the community, it get a bad impact. So what was the idea about using the smartphone? The people will record the water level and then send as an SMS, but the SMS itself cannot be processed inside the modeling. So it uses a pre-processing technique in the Android-based application phone, and then generate a particular input for the flood forecasting model. And then once the message is generated, they use the cell phone once again to disseminate the warning to the community through the gauge readers. So this is the central idea of doing these things. So let me. So these are summarized as the steps. Some SMS from the gauge readers first is collected from the field level, and then it's put to the center, and then before getting into the model, like Mic 11 or other related software, they do some pre-processing in the computers and then use as the input for the flood modeling. Once the modeling is done, the warning message or the flood scenario is generated, and then as a message it's get back to the community, and minimum disturbance or probability of error is left in this system, since in the both way the technology is used such as a mobile phone. So minimum probability of the error is left here. So this is the total system, how it works. It's one of the part of the flood forecasting and warning message dissemination to the community. And so in the thematic first part is generating the SMS, and then second part some pre-processing in the Android application, and then it goes to the computer and for using in the model. And then once the model is ready and verified with all of the conditions, and the result is representing the scenario, then the warning message is getting back through the cell phone once again to the community leaders or the gauge readers, so that way people can get an actual idea what's going to happen. So this is another picture, so how it works. Like, as I have already told, the cell phone, the major components of the things are the cell phone in the field, and then an Android applications, and then it gets to the computer for processing, and then it has connections with the database, and then the actual processing goes on. Once again, this way the warning messages get back to the community, so that the people can be warned, or people can get aware of the ensuing or upcoming flash flood or riverine flood events. So these are some of the screenshots how the data are processed inside the applications. So one important thing is here, we have included the local languages. Many of the people are not that much literate to understand the warning message in English or some other standard languages. So what we did, we incorporated the same warning message in local languages. I think it's difficult to understand. The rightmost one is the warning message in Bengali, in our mother language. So this is quite easily understandable for the community people. So this adds value to the, it gets an importance to the community people to get the message in their own language. So it works fine, and people are happy with this incorporation. So it's a good thing for using the smartphone or cell phone technology to make the less error, to do the thing in a less time. Earlier times they provided the feedback from the field once in a day, but now they can provide this sort of input from the water level in the field 2 times a day. So more frequently the flood warning can be provided to the community. So this is one of the so let me summarize. So it's one part of the warning message generation and dissemination. So earlier times it was used the traditional or classical method for writing the water level in the by hand on the piece of paper. Then it was sent to the flood forecasting and modeling center, and then the warning message goes the same way. But we have changed the data collections, the collecting of the water level informations, and just generated message back to the community. So this incorporation of the smartphone technology add value to the community, and it's well accepted in the community. So I think this is a good initiative, and it requires less amount of money, because as usual the technology and the mobile phone, almost every community have these things, and then this doesn't include extra much cost for making this improvement. So it adds value for the disaster and warning messages dissemination in the community. So it's useful for the community. So thank you very much. I'm almost done. So yeah. Thanks. If you have any question. Yeah.
Thank you, Zahid.
One question only.
But the reader still has to go to the gauge and manually send the SMS?
Yeah.
Okay, that is
Still
the reader has to go and manually send the SMS.
Yeah.
Because the rain gauge is what kind of?
Rain gauge is not, it's permanently put in the river, because if you put the rain gauge somewhere, the water level comes and it overflows, and then sometimes it has to be replaced. So that's why he has to go to the site and see it. Earlier times they make a call and transfer the information, but now once he types it in the mobile phone, so the error probability is a little less than the earlier one. So no more question.
No, that's one
No.
interesting application. I'm interested to know what's the content of the message that goes to the community readers.
Just a moment. Once again, I need to translate the message, right? So for example, the first one, it says that next one day, the water level of the river will be steady, so need not to worry about this. So you can go with your usual activities. But the later one, and it says that the next 2 days the water level will be reducing, so you can get preparation for using this information. So another message is that the next 2 days there will be a rise of 2 meters of water level, say for example, and then you get the preparation. So it's understandable format for the community.
But this message goes to all
No,
people?
no.
This is site specific.
Site specific and then the community leaders. Not for all, because the ownership of the mobile phone is not 100% in this community. So only the leader people or the representatives get the SMS and then they disseminate the. So for example, using the social gathering or the community is called megaphone, megaphone like some sort of announcement.
Actually, the question was mainly is the message is different from people there than here or there, or it's fixed to every.
No, this one is community specific. So in a single area, the message is specific, but because the flood doesn't happen all over the country at a time, so it's a location specific according to the community's situation. So it's not the same message for all of the country. So